Well, welcome everyone to this donor experience optimization session here with NextAfter. My name is Tony Cavicchi. I'm one of the account leads with NextAfter, where we're focused on optimization and using what we can learn from the internet as a experimentation lab to help you grow and accelerate your names, donors, and dollars that you're bringing in for the charitable causes that you're working with. So really excited to be able to spend some time with you today. I come to NextAfter with the experience of having been a client several times. And so just very excited to be able to talk with a couple of great organizations today about how to optimize their donation pages. I have Karleigh Wagner here with me. She's on my team. I'll let her introduce herself now.
Hi, my name is Karleigh Wagner. Like Tony said, I'm on his team. I work as a digital strategist. So I do a lot of testing, a lot of optimization, a lot of copywriting, that sort of thing. So I'm super excited to be here today to do some website optimizations.
Great. And one of the things that we do as an organization is not just work with clients, but also give back to the fundraising community more broadly. And so that's why we publish so many of the experiments that we run with organizations on our website. It's why we put on the NEO Summit, the Nonprofit Innovation and Optimization Summit, every year, which you're invited to attend if you're interested. And the inspiration for these webinars actually came from the times that we spent at the conference, where any attendee can come up and say, hey, can you look at my website for me and give me some tips on what I can improve, what I can test, what I can try. And so we were just like, well, the internet makes things accessible. So we could do this throughout the year and not just once in person on location. So we put out that call for anyone who is interested in having their donation page optimized. A number of organizations raised their hands, so they're being very brave here and sharing it for the benefit of the rest of you all who are watching. So we're going to jump into that here in just a minute. But thank you to both of the organizations participating with us today with this. So the first organization we're going to be talking to is Mount Royal University up in Canada. So we have Miranda Dayque and Lee Mayer joining us from them, and they submitted a donation page. We're excited to look at that today, but I thought we'd give them a minute or two to give us the elevator pitch for Mount Royal University and why someone would want to donate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tony, and thanks, Karleigh. And thanks, Lee, who's done all the work on all of our donation pages. So Mount Royal University, we are a public university. It's an undergraduate university that's located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We have just over 15,000 students, and 5.5% of those students are actually Indigenous students. So that is a major focus of our programming. We have, we're actually going through a website revamp right now. So this is the website that we currently have. It's hosted on BBNC, which if you know, you know,
Right.
and I'll leave it at that. But we have a really robust giving projects area where what we're looking at today is our main donation form, which does link to some of those other areas where people can make more directed gifts. This is kind of our main donation form that is linked to at the top of our website. It is an RENXT donation form. We've done some testing with some other donation platforms, but as RENXT kind of rolls out additional functionality, that's the one that we stick with for all of our donation forms right now. And Lee can certainly speak more to the technical side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to get into it, and then perhaps I can bring some more insights into it. But yeah, there are RENXT donation forms. This is our main donation form. It is where you go when you just hit donate now on our main webpage. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Well, the first thing that came up to me when I saw this donation page was that you're doing a lot on here. I think one of the easy metrics that's a little bit informal, but is something that we can take a look at, is just like what I would call attention ratio here. The first thing to ask is, like, what are you trying to accomplish, and you're trying to get someone to make a donation to Mount Royal University Foundation here, right? But I think when I counted, there's 7 different places that people can go from here. And so you're doing a lot of educating in a moment that someone is hitting donate. So I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit more about what the impetus is behind having, like, for example, if we scroll down here, all of the different designation items and things like that, right? Like, do you need to have all of that available on the main donate page? Is that a mandate, or can you kind of reduce optionality by moving some of that to a different place? Like, I used to work for a college, so I know, like, every scholarship wants to have their designation on the main donate.
Yeah. I'll explain a little bit for sure. So we do have a number of different designations, and that is because what we find is we don't have folks, in Canada in general, there is not a really robust appetite for area in need or greatest need. And we also don't have what you would term an annual fund for the university. So that's why we have split up. These are typically our priorities or areas that, you know, you can donate to them through other means. We could address that just by using another, like we could have a one general fund and then other on there for sure. When we get into some of those other options, we do have the double the donation matching, which I believe that's probably going to go away just because, frankly, we're not making as robust use out of that as we could. Where we have, I would like to dedicate this gift, obviously that's the tribute area. We do have a lot of folks who make tribute gifts. So likely we would want to leave that as is. And then the next two, I'm interested in more information about establishing a student award or leaving a gift in my will. We could actually potentially move that to like either a confirmation page, but what happens here is that there is an attribute that gets added to, like it comes through so that we're able to forward that on to the appropriate area. And I just don't know whether it would come through the same way if we had it on a confirmation page. So we would have to test that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful information on just like some of the Canadian context around annual fund and things like that. One of the things that we see on a donation page that has a lot of options like this is just the opportunity to make a number of choices is high, right? And so you're definitely putting all of the power in the donor's hands, but that can oftentimes end up in confusion for like, what is the next step that I would want to take? And so that's where we think you could test around moving some of these things, like the different designations, right? So is the list of designations that you have now like comprehensive of every designation that someone could make, or are you currently like curating it?
We are definitely curating it. And there may be options for folks to search, but I think really the best option might be, given what you've said, is to limit it to like, you know, a single fund, and then say, if you wanted to give to another fund, just use the other and let us know what that is.
Right. Because that can be one of the things that you're looking at here. Like, you've talked about how this is the donation page you arrive at when you hit the donate button on the homepage of the site, right? I suspect since it's your main donate, it might also be like what a student worker gives to someone if they call on the phone and say, I want to give, or something like that, right? And so in that case, like, you want to have all of those options available. So I would see some potential here for saying, like, could we have 2 donation pages, a main donation page that we use internally, and then a main donation page that is just focused on the people who hit that main donate button on the site. And then you can run some tests here for optimizing specifically for like homepage traffic and reducing like, since you're already curating the designations, trying 1 or 3 or 5 rather than the current length would be something that I'd be interested in seeing, like what effect that has.
Sure.
Because if you do 1 designation, you're not even asking someone to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
as soon as you get to 2, that's where we've introduced choice, and how much choice do we want to do there. We also have a test that we've run with an organization called CareNet, but we've seen this apply several different places where we've tested the impact on donor conversion of removing some of the forms and other elements. And you can see here, it's not so much the specific form, it's the overall length can often be just a barrier to people in terms of like saying, how many decisions do I have to make to give here, especially on a mobile device when it's multiple screens that we have to scroll through. That is a way that we can see an improvement. So they actually raised the amount that they gave on this page by about 107% just by reducing the number of required form fields that they had, right? And so that is a valid question for you guys. I get it from a business process standpoint, right? Like if we move on from the designations to, we're asking like you to consider making a legacy gift, right? Like that could be a very important question for alumni. And so if alumni are donating through this page and then they're selecting yes, and then you're routing that directly to the appropriate person in your office for following up, I get that's a very valuable business process. But how many donations are we losing on the page because it's longer or it's more confusing or there's a larger look of friction? So that's where I would encourage you to test there. That's one of the ways to make the page shorter in terms of what people have to fill out. And you can quantify what the business impact of that is, right? If you say, oh, well, we're getting, on average 2 fewer referrals a day because we removed this.
Yeah.
But the increase on the page is a 35% increase, then you can start doing math to evaluate like what is the better, more valuable donation page design for our business needs.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to say too is I really like the Canadian flag that you guys added on here. It just helps to reinforce your brand. When we looked at this, the Give Securely button on here is very reassuring to people that you have someone who it's just eliminating that friction of, is this going to be an okay gift? Like I know people have donated a lot more online, but people still have questions about that. And then I also wanted to commend you as a Canadian organization. This defaults to province. I've seen so many Canadian organizations that say state, right? And it's just like you're showing people that you're local and driving that value there as well.
Now, Lee, some of those options are just baked into the RENXT donation form, correct?
That is correct. Like we didn't add that Canadian flag. That is part of the, when I choose the country of origin, that just appears.
Well, I'm rooting for you then. Good job with that.
There's definitely parts of this form that we do not have control over. Okay. Some of those extra questions, like the gift in, if you wanted to do the scholarship or gift in my will, that we have added. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I do have the opportunity to take off, I would like to dedicate this gift, but mm-hmm. we have so many people that would like to dedicate their gifts, and they do actually complain if they can't. And I would just, I think there was a question that I would answer, that when you click on that You don't go anywhere, just a dialog box appears below, and it just says, what is the, I think it'll happen if you press it there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
it's just what type of dedication, and the name and any messaging.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where we'll get sometimes people writing, he was a great professor and we'll miss him terribly. And then that's information we will send to the family, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think especially with alumni and people who want to have like this one-to-one relationship or back and forth with you, that those can actually be things that increase conversion, right? So that's always why I would say test it and make sure that what we're looking at works best for you or any other organization that's watching this, right? Because you can have a business case that mitigates like a overall best practice, and that's why we always encourage testing to look directly into this. But one of the things that we could talk about a little bit more as well is just the header and footer on the page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I actually get the ability to click donate now, which just brings me back to this page, right? So some of this info here is, again, like potentially confusing or just distracting from the ability to give on the page. I don't think it's that as much as up top. So if we look at the top of the page here, a lot of places where people can get more information about the foundation, about Mount Royal University, ways to give your impact. Like all of this information is super helpful for a donor, right? But when they're on this donate now page, it's the time to make the case to get them to pull the credit card out. Test that you could run on this page is eliminating some of these other options. So I'm making a donation, or I want to make a donation to Mount Royal University Foundation. I hit the donate now button, and then I think, okay, I can make a difference, but should I go read the case for support? Should I see like what the projects are? Like it starts to, again, introduce more questions, right? So I would definitely have like a link to this page in all of the other material that you have in the nav, but does this donate page need to link to all the other donor information? I think you could test that and get an interesting answer there.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Go for it.
So when we use the RANXT forms, we develop the form and then we're embedding that form like in a website page, right? So that's why the header and the footer that you see are the same header and footer that you see on every page within our website. So I guess my question would be, I mean, would we create a template where we would have a header that looks like this, but it maybe just has a home in the donate now without other options? Or would you not provide an option for them to navigate back to the site, except for with the forward or back buttons?
Yeah, I would definitely have an option for them to navigate from the donation page back to the site. You don't want to orphan them on the page if they do decide that, oh, I need more information. But when you have a full nav bar here, it's essentially implying to the donor, hey, I should check out this before I make a donation, right? Like I just click donate now on your main donation page, and then I arrived here on donate now, which is the 7th tab of your nav. So it makes me feel like, oh, I skipped steps 1 through 6. Like, should I go back and read that stuff?
Yeah.
So that would be one of the things that I think you would eliminate the mental thought of like, oh, I jumped too far ahead. I skipped something. Like, oh, I clicked this because I'm ready to donate. So now I arrived here. Karleigh, you wanted to talk a little bit about the value prop on this page too, right?
Yeah. I think we've tested adding some extra value prop with a few different organizations, and this was just an example of a test we've ran when adding just kind of like just a little bit more value proposition on why somebody should give a gift to your organization. So in this situation, you can kind of see we added a bit more text here, and it did make the page longer, but there was a 150% increase in the conversion rate on the page at a 95% level of confidence. So I think we'd recommend maybe adding some more value proposition on why somebody should give to the page could also kind of maybe increase gifts here as well.
Yeah. And when we talk about value proposition, it's not just like some text. It's essentially saying, why should I give a gift to you rather than some other organization or not at all, right? So those are the two questions that you have to address. Like, should I make a donation? And then why Mount Royal University rather than some other school, right? And so to the extent that you're using this in multiple places, people can call in on the phone and someone, like, will take a credit card and put it in here, or whatever other uses you're using it for other than the homepage. Like, yeah, like a lot of extra text is probably superfluous. But when someone hits the donate button, there is an opportunity to have some of the things that you talked about when you gave your elevator pitch in the beginning of this talk, right? To just remind people about why they should give, what they're solving, how the donor is the hero through their giving to Mount Royal University, right? So again, in this case, like, I think you have that info here, but it's on a different page, right? And so we're asking people, like, will you check out giving projects or memorial giving? And that's encouraging people to say, oh yeah, like, I arrived at the wrong page. Like, I should go there to give rather than giving here right now.
Yeah. So I guess my question there is, and like, I think we do have some great value added language that we can use on this page. We very specifically made it a little bit bare bones just because somebody had already made the decision to give if they hit donate now. So we felt we didn't necessarily have to resell them, but I understand what you're saying. And the piece about, like, we do have links to our giving projects or memorial giving because typically that's where a lot of people are looking to give to. And sometimes they just hit that donate now. It's like when you're on hold to a telephone system and you keep hitting 0 in hopes of getting to a live agent. So, but that's not, your request is likely more nuanced than that, which was our way of thinking here. So would we still keep a link to those giving projects or memorial giving within that value add, language piece at the top of the page? And is there a specific length that works better in terms of that?
Yeah, I think that's where some of this information is, like, it's valuable to have. And there's always going to be someone who has a use case for donating that's not on the donation page. So in the US, the most common scenario for that is, oh, I can't use or make a gift to you from my tax deductible donor advice fund on a website page. So people will have a link to go off the donation page to get the donor advice fund instructions, right? And so in this case, like we said, there should be some link on this page somewhere to somewhere else for Mount Royal University, just so that they aren't dead-ended in the donation experience. So I think that could easily be, like, more information or other ways to give, or looking for another way to give, or some way to have people know that, like, okay, this page isn't what I thought I was coming to, so I go here to look for, like, how do I donate stock directly or make a memorial gift or something like that.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. And I think somebody was asking about changing, like, to 100 from 50. So our median gift every single year is 100. So we certainly could push that default amount. The reason why we set it at 50 is because we know a lot of folks who are also non-donors arrive at this page. So we kind of set the amount purposefully like a little lower to attract those folks who maybe for whom like a $100 gift might not be feasible for their first gift.
That'd be a lot.
But that would be an interesting
Yeah,
test as well, right? So
yeah, I think there's two tests there, right? Where do you start it at? And then also like what do you default to, right? Because you could keep the same gift array that you have now, but highlight 100 instead of 50, right? And so 50 is the option that's available, but you start at 50 or you start at 100 and you have to make a choice to move to 50. The other thing that you can do, and if this is 100 is your average median gift, you can go ahead and say, hey, like Canadian $100, most frequent gift type, right? Or most popular, right?
Yeah.
So we've tested adding a star to the button that is most popular and just calling out most popular gift.
Yeah. Now,
and that tends to coalesce people around that. And also it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that becomes the gift size that you get. Yeah.
We may also have options for having this these values be dynamic. Lee would have to remind me if on the regular donation page, if we have the option of having these values fluctuate depending on where the person is arriving at the page from.
I believe that's on the optimized form. Yeah, the RENXT offers an optimized form that we've only just recently gotten in Canada a couple months ago now, I guess. And there we do have the option of, I'm forgetting the exact term right now, what they call it, but they're able to sort of, based on analytics or whatever, predict what array the donor should be shown when they come to the donation page.
Okay. Yeah, it's very cool. One of the things that I think is always like, it's more of like a Moby Dick term, but it's the white whale of digital, is customizing the gift array on a donation page as intimately as that can be customized in direct mail, right? So a lot of these newer predictive analytics tools like show some promise with that, because traditionally, like, you would have to customize this based on giving history through an email, and so a main donation page is harder to do that with. But I really like that you're using the giving history to set where you have the gift array options on here. The other thing to call out with this is I love the tabbed form that you have. So one-time donation versus monthly donation. You don't make people leave to go to a different place to give here. You're just giving them the option to toggle back and forth, which I think is great. One of the things that does jump out to me, though, is that the gift array is the same amount for each gift here, right?
Yeah.
So it's good from one standpoint of like, I'm not asking someone to do the mental math of like, okay, what percentage are they using if my one-time donation of $50 turns into a monthly recurring of 12, right? But it does feel like, oh, this isn't configured. Maybe they're not really emphasizing me giving a monthly gift, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. And we do need to adjust that. So we'll take a look at that. This is really helpful to us for sure. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Especially on the monthly side too, I would try lowering the gift array there. Yeah. If you get a 500 monthly, that's 6,000 annual. I would love every 6,000 donor you get, but might be a change there. So yeah, no, I'm really excited that we were able to talk with you today. Like we said beforehand, my wife's Canadian, so I always jump at the chance to talk with you north of the border, and really appreciate you being able to join today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with the pages, Miranda and Lee, before we move forward here?
You know what? I think that we'll maybe take some of these suggestions back, and we may reach out to you for some additional questions around testing, because we always like looking at the different tests that you suggest. And obviously, we have some different tactics that we use for, direct mail accompanying webs, like donation pages and whatnot. So this is all really good information. So thank you. And thanks to everybody who was asking questions.
Yeah, I would love to have you follow up. My email address is public, so you can let me know how things go based on what you're able to test with this. So thank you again so much for joining with us today.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so our next organization that we're looking at today is Lift Disability Network. We have Jim Hukill, their executive director, joining us. So hi, Jim. Thank you for sending your donation page in.
Hey, guys. Sure. It's great to join you.
Okay. Well, what I always want to do with an organization is, before we just jump into talking about your donation page, you want to give us an elevator pitch for who you are, what it is you do, and why someone would want to donate to you.
Well, I tell you, I never give up an opportunity to talk about our passion. And but we are a 26-year-old organization. We've been serving families with disabilities in Central Florida for quite some time. We've just recently grown with our staff to where we're now close to 13 staff members, and we're continuing to expand our reach. We have a day program that we operate. We have a medical equipment bank that we operate. We have family services, and we do large-scale events for the disability community in Central Florida. And it's really out of my passion. I've been in a chair since I was 6 years old, and I'm ready for retirement, but you know how that is. And so my wife and I have been married for 31 years, and we just felt like we wanted to give other families with disabilities the same things, same benefits that we've received and experienced.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Like, I'm the parent of 2 kids with disabilities, so really it speaks to me when people want to make a difference in that area. So kudos to you.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So we wanted to talk about your donation page today. You sent it in to us to get some people to look at it. So we've got that on the screen here. We scroll down. You've got a picture. I'm assuming some of these are like program people or volunteers. Others might be participants in the program. But give a gift, change a life. 2 columns here. One of the things I was looking at is, like, you got a lot of space on a desktop, so this works well. I would just check out, like, if someone's looking at this on a mobile device, like, does the donation box like appear over the text or vice versa, depending on how someone's looking at it on an iPhone. For me, it ended up working correctly some of the time I was looking at it.
Did you pull
where I was able to
you
read
pulled it up on your phone?
Scroll down. Yeah. So the same thing here with a couple of these is, number one, I just wanted to shout out, like, you have the one-time versus the monthly. Both of these columns are here. You can switch back and forth. But as you heard in the discussion that we just had, typically, like, a monthly gift that you're going to get 12 times a year, it's going to bring in more value than a one-time gift that someone gives. Because, hey, I'm more committed. But being 12 times more committed, it's hard to find a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm 12 times more committed than my one-time gift. So that could be something that you could test on this page. One of the things that we were looking at is just, I think you've actually made some changes to this page since you first sent it in for us to optimize.
I may have, this is a new site.
Yeah.
So
I was like,
huh?
No, I was gonna say kudos to you. I was like, you didn't just put this up and then say, oh, NextAfter is gonna talk to me in 3 weeks.
No.
You've been working on it.
This actually started the first of the year. We recreated we spent about some money on our site to have it redesigned and reconfigured. The right column is a embedded form.
Right.
So we make changes through fundraise, which is at the bottom. You can see that.
Yeah. Okay. And then what is your most common gift type? Is it that $45 gift that's on there?
Actually, I think that might be that's a automated thing from fundraise.
Okay.
So they do a dollar suggestion, and that's their formula comes up with that.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I like that. 45 feels a little bit more accessible than 50, right? It's almost the same amount of money, but it feels a little.
I mean, frankly, I would have probably put it at 25, but I didn't build the formula.
Okay, well, you could test that if you want to, but let's show the experiment that we ran with navs here. Okay, yeah, right. So one of the things that I saw with your page, Jim, was how positive it was, right? Which I love, but it almost makes it sound like these great things are happening and you can give us money if you want to, right? So what impact does the donor have by giving? What problems are they solving? So just hearing some of the programs that you have in place, right? You're providing medical equipment, you're putting on events in the community for people with disabilities and things like that, right? So if Lift Disability wasn't there, do those things not happen? And if that's true, then what impact does that have on people's lives? So in this experiment, we had an organization test into saying what problem was actually going to get solved by making a donation. So in this was a religious organization, so they were we don't have people who are comfortable sharing their faith, right? And so now this is a way that you can donate to this and have that change in the attitude of the people who are receiving the ebook. Before that, it just said what the actual ebook was. And so in this scenario, it was actually giving people a problem to solve. It was saying, all right, people aren't confident to talk about their faith. Here's how we do this. So for Lift Disability, that could look like, all right, people have to go without medical equipment that makes their lives easier until they get connected with Lift Disability. And as a donor to Lift Disability, you're changing the lives of these kids or these adults or whichever specific thing that you want to call out, right?
Right.
I mean, you can even call that out on the page and say, hey, $45 gives 3 people a seat at this community event that we're running.
Right. You would do that on the donate page itself?
Yeah, on the main donate page. If we flip back to there now, yeah. So we say on the page, you make the work of Lift Disability Network possible. That's absolutely true. What is the work of Lift Disability Network? It's what you told us in the elevator pitch. It's giving people community. It's giving people access through medical equipment. It's doing all those things. So I don't think we're saying write something really long here. We're saying like connect it to someone when they give to Lift Disability Network. It's not just to keep the lights on at your organization, it's to do these things in the lives of a person with disabilities, right? And so Lift Disability Network is the like conduit for their generosity. Does that make sense? Right.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be something that I would suggest adding and then testing there is, does that kind of impact language increase?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like what we've considered to be the 4 great giants of disability life is the isolation that it causes, it's the fatigue that happens, it's the poverty that takes place, and then it's the hopelessness. And I hear what you're saying. I think that would be a good place for this. You know, with your gift, we create, so and so has an opportunity to have friendships and relationships and not isolation. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. They have equipment that helps them to live their life with less fatigue. Right. Yeah. So you could actually, maybe you could even do like one sentence for each of those 4 things.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. I see now. I should probably change the type of that for sure. That's some old wording.
Okay. Yeah. And then the other thing that I had with this as well is you do have some space here between your embed and what's on the visual like text here. And so I think you could increase the text size for the gray letters here without it going too far down. So that was just like a visual thing that I had when I came to the page was I saw the happy picture, give a gift, change a life. You can impact families living with disabilities, and then I just switched over. So while I do recommend changing or adding more impact to the text here, I think you need to maybe resize things a little bit to make it easier to read because the visual cue right now is just a bounce.
Yeah, it's definitely still a work in process for us. You know, so getting our marketing team to understand our world is the big step.
The challenge, Well, and I want to be clear here too. Like, this isn't we're coming here to grade your page.
No, right.
We're coming here to give you ideas, right? And so, I know you can't even test. Like we talk about this, like you can't test everything all at once.
Exactly.
So hopefully, the idea is you come away with 3 or 4 things you can test over the rest of this year.
We did have a couple of call to actions on the front page of things that we're doing, where their money could go, but I definitely understand what your comments are.
Right. Yeah. And then you also have like donation options where people can add a comment and dedicate this donation.
Yes.
I think the
form is actually a 3 or
not too distracting.
Yeah, the form is actually a 3 or 4 page form.
Right. Okay.
It reveals it as you go along.
Because then you have to continue through to impact.
Right.
So giving you the monthly ask, then you go through, get those options, and then you have to add your credit card info. So that's another approach to having a very long form is to say, hey, let's take this out in bites. And so in this case, like you're actually asking people to donate or make the choice about how much they're going to donate before they actually have to pull the credit card out and everything else. So that could be a potential thing you could test to say, hey, if we went from 2 steps or from 4 steps to 2 or 4 to 3, does that have an effect? But I think right here, right now, you're probably going to get more impact out of changing some of the text than you are around just what the actual like steps in the form are. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Particularly for, I'm assuming a lot of the people coming to your site are familiar with you from the community rather than arriving at the site from news coverage or advertising. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
So we have
in that scenario, like,
so we have capacity like for a variety of forms.
mm-hmm.
So, like for example, if you're on the front page and you want to give to our now shuttle campaign, then it will take you to a coded form that's just for that campaign.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And so that, I think that's totally appropriate. And people are knowing, like, that's what I want to give to. This is the main donate button on your page. And people are just giving to lift disability where most needed. Yeah, I guess like what I was saying is like when people come here, they know who you are and they're less likely to be choosing like lift disability versus another organization. And so really your value prop is why give to lift disability right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the text on here is going to have more impact than whether the form is 3 steps or 4 steps. Does that make sense? Right.
That makes sense.
Okay. One of the things I want to ask, like, Karleigh, you didn't get that this was in Florida either, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the same response that I had, Jim. So I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness here. So that would be another thing you could try testing is, do you add Central Florida specific language? Does that increase people's willingness to give? Because they're like, oh, you're doing all these great things and you're doing it in my community, in my area, or does that like not have the same motivational impact?
Maybe I need to put a palm tree on here.
Yeah. So that could be another thing to change. Yeah, because it's not a bad thing that it doesn't mention Florida. Like if mentioning Florida reduces your donations, I don't want you to mention Florida. But if people knowing it's Florida increases whether people are willing to give to you, like you should have that on there. That should be in the value prop and in the impact statement.
We do have a number of donors that give outside the state of Florida that are primarily from a life that I had before we created Lyft.
Okay. So. Yeah. And I was wondering too if you had more of like a potential like snowbird population of people who
we do
spend part of
donate
the year in Florida and are involved with you.
We're from the villages, so there's a lot of folks up there that donate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah. So and that would be one of the scenarios where it's like, does mentioning Florida help with them or not?
Yeah.
Run a test and find that out. Yeah.
Okay.
So was there anything else that you wanted us to look at with your page that you were hoping for us to
remember if you scroll
talk more about today or go over?
If you scroll down, I don't remember if there's anything below the break. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. So I liked your Candid logo on there. One of the things that I had a question about with this, Jim, was the downloading the app. To me, that makes sense as like someone gives the donation and then we ask them if they want to download the app. By putting it up front, we're kind of asking them to download the app rather than give.
What is that app?
That app is for them to manage their giving.
Oh, okay. So that's a fundraise element. That's not an in-house element.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
so
I see what you're saying.
You could have that appear after someone makes a donation.
That's true. Right? Yeah. That would make more sense, huh?
Yeah. Because at that point, they're like, okay, I'm a donor. I have a relationship with you. I need the app to help me manage that relationship. Rather than like up front, it's like, well, what value am I going to give to Lift Disability? Am I going to give you the donation, or I'm going to go download this app, which is going to allow you to send me notifications on my phone? Like sending me notifications on my phone, it's kind of like personal. Like I feel like I'm doing you a favor if I let you send me notifications on my phone. So I might be like, well, I let them
Right.
I let them communicate pretty intimately with me.
Right.
Maybe I don't need to make a gift. It's just some of those
No, I
donor
get it. Yeah,
psychology
I
things.
understand. On our old site, we had a division between the form and the bottom of the page that led to like other ways to engage, whether it was through, say, you wanted to donate stocks, that kind of thing. Those are the type of larger types of giving, or volunteerism, other ways to engage. And I'm wondering if we need to add that in that spot.
Yeah, that could be a potential thing. There is like see what to give in a different way. And then that button takes people to a page that talks about volunteering or talks about other ways to give, like stock or donor advised funds, things like that, right?
I can put like,
we ultimately, like, it's your main donate page,
right,
and so we don't want it to look like a bulletin board at a coffee shop
right,
where like everyone's allowed to pin their urgent message
no, I
to
get
the
you.
board, and then
Yeah.
you go to the bulletin board and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in
Yeah.
my community.
Yeah.
So I like the focus that you have. But like if someone wants to donate stock and they come to this page, might be a little bit confused. So like we were saying, I think you could add like a button saying, hey,
I could add like
other
3,
volunteer or other ways to
right,
give.
right. I could add like just 3 columns with images with a caption above them or below them that said, your giving does this, your giving does that, or we just leave it at the simple text up above.
Yeah, I would try testing adding the text, and then try testing adding the image.
Okay.
Because we've seen different results with that, right? Like you can add the same text to a page and then add that text plus an image and get a different result, because sometimes the image interacts differently with if someone's watching it on an iPhone or an iPad, with interactability, or honestly, like when you read text, sometimes it's easier for people to relate to the text than it is to relate to a specific image.
Okay.
Like as soon as you've given me an image, now we're specifically in like one area type, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Like, and so if you had like every picture on your site is like my son is autistic, right? So if every picture on your site was of an autistic person, now I'm thinking, okay, this is an autism focused charity, right? When you do so much more than that.
Right.
So sometimes the imaging can be
I
limited
totally
in
understand
terms
what
of
you're
like what a donor sees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why testing that, because the images can also convey more emotions than text, and so sometimes adding an image can be powerful, but I can't tell you ahead of time which
it's
impact
actually going to work. All right.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of, and for everyone watching here as well, like that's kind of the approach that we take with this is humility, right?
Right.
We want to help our donors give more. We want to make it easier and more motivating for them to do that. But we don't presume to know everything that our donors want, right? And so that's why using the internet as a learning lab is effective, because we can go back and forth with this and say, okay, did donors, did our visitors respond with donations to this? No? Okay, we'll go back, try again. Great. All right. Well, thank you for coming on today, Jim, and letting us talk through your donation page. I hope that was helpful, and you're leaving with some testing ideas to implement, and let us know how it goes as well. And thank you for everything that you're doing, Jim, with Lift Disability down in Florida. That's great. All right. Well, with that, I think we're kind of at the end of our time together with the optimization, but we did want to talk about Neo Summit a little bit. where we're doing all this innovation and optimization live. Karleigh, you've been to Neo Summit. It's great, right?
Yes. It's a great time.
Okay. Yeah, so Neo Summit is in Kansas City this year. We can show the website for that if someone wants to put that back on screen. But if you want to view past sessions from the Neo Summit, you can go to the website. If you want to sign up for Neo Summit this year, like we said, we do sessions like this live in the exhibit hall at Neo Summit. So you can request like 10, 20 minutes in advance, or you can just show up and talk to me or Karleigh or someone else who's ready to answer your questions with that. So we're always happy to spread knowledge, spread generosity, because ultimately, like, each one of these causes is something, one caring about someone other than themselves, right? And that's pretty beautiful if you think about what we get to do every day as nonprofit fundraisers. So really excited about that. And thank you all for spending your time with us today. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email here at NextAfter. Love to catch up with you on LinkedIn or answer any follow-up questions as well.